for the family and nothing I wouldn't do. And they know what I'm going no matter who. Stairs vacant, I'm plotting my next move. Shout my niggas is getting this stacking blue. Tell them watch for the jackers and undercovers. All the snitches and bitches that say they like it. Not a trapper, I die, but it wasn't me. Streets will snatch how you on somebody's teeth. Shout my nigga, they left him for dead. Hard to kill them, we come for revenge. Told them something won't happen again. For they caliber one in the head. Let them curses come blessings instead. Ain't no waters that I couldn't tread. You end up if your brothers ain't fed. At the table, we breaking the bread, yeah. Crown royal, I don't chase it. She ain't loyal, I replace it. Try and play me like I'm basic. I see clearly like LASIK. If it's a challenge, I embrace it. Don't test me, then I ace it. Show my mental in, watch me lace it. Lawless going crazy. I sit a law of vendettas. Prove y'all wrong, my pleasure. Enemies use all measures, yeah. If you knew better, do better. Follow my lead, trendsetter. We certified go-getters, yeah. Me and my niggas. We don't talk shit, talk business, yeah. Ride to the finish. Only one try, we giving, yeah. One hand winning. Don't smoke to the sky, no ceilings, yeah. I'll be there in a minute. The pedal to the floor, we living, yeah. Drawbacks is a small cause for the dream, yeah. Fall back, never fall off, I've been scheming. All facts, we've been long gone from the scene, yeah. Cooking up bean, yeah. Serving up fiends, yeah. Money machine, yeah. Building up steam, yeah. Talking, I seen that. Not on that screen, yeah. Nubian queen, yeah. All of my DM. What it's gonna be, yeah. Yeah. I sit a law of vendettas. Prove y'all wrong, my pleasure. Enemies use all measures, yeah. If you knew better, do better. Follow my lead, trendsetter. We certified go-getters, yeah. Me and my niggas. We don't talk shit, talk business, yeah. Ride to the finish. Only one try, we giving, yeah. One hand willing. Don't smoke to the sky, no ceilings, yeah. I'll be there in a minute. The pedal to the floor, we living, yeah. Me and my niggas. We don't talk shit, talk business, yeah. Ride to the finish. Only one try, we giving, yeah. One hand willing. Don't smoke to the sky, no ceilings, yeah. I'll be there in a minute. The pedal to the floor, we living, yeah. Better late than never, I suppose. I've been sleeping on this gold. Now I'm woken, boy, I'm fucking on it. Pulling shit together with my bro. Yeah, he keep me on my toes. So we cooking cause we fucking hungry. She just want a nigga with some goals. But this world so fucking cold. When she find love, won't know how to hold it. I've been feeling anxious on the low. I just leave it to the most. Life's a gamble and we never folding. Better yet, I welcome every wager and he take us from a line. Watch me make your money mine. Someone told me time is money, but see really that's a lie. Cause that dollar I can get it back for seconds, they go by. But don't get it twisted, I'm with it if it's by the check. I need compensation and all deposits come direct. Baby needed some shoes, lady need her a house. But I ain't counting the seconds, I'm just making it count. I woke up and decided to let them talk and I'ma be about it. And through it all, girl, I'ma be a rider for you. That's why I'm out here trying to change a dollar to two. And for the record, it's way more deep than what you expected. I'm playing chess when they saying king me, I'm yelling check me. I'm moving with a purpose and it's such a blessing. And in the end, it's worth it cause there's no regretting. I'm having a breakthrough. Break rules, yeah, that's something that the greats do. Ooh, don't ever let the evil take you. Yeah, I'm at the top and it's a great. They'll get it into the last straw. You know today could be your last call. I don't ask permission.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Monday edition of the Uninformed Fan. I am your host, Tyson. With me, my good friend, Jeffrey. We have a lot of good stuff going on today. Denver going back home with a 3-1 lead. Vegas going back at home with a 3-1 lead. Some drama on the PGA Tour with a putt that sunk Jeffrey's hopes and dreams. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit about cancel culture and what that effect is on American society. I'm geeked up, ready to go. Jeffrey is in such a great mood. How are we doing today, big boy? Huh?
We're doing great. Just flipping the vibes, trying to get back what I came on here. I'm very annoyed right now. A lot going on with the house and a lot of moving parts, of course, when you buy a house. And buy a house, they say, it'll be great. blah blah blah. And you don't factor in everything that you have to do when you buy a house. And so it's been a hectic week. It's been fun. A lot of things, a lot of learning situations that we've been through as well too. But I was able to yesterday get this all hooked up so that I could be back on the podcast and talk to my good buddy Tyson Thomas about, amazing things in life and sports and cancel culture and, losing money to E and Z's. And, it's just,
can I also just come out and say that, the beard's coming back nicely?
Oh, yeah. The beard we're doing okay with. I figured it'd only be a few days, but, it was a rough look there for a little bit. I needed the man makeup back. Definitely helps.
I'm sorry, what did you call that? The man makeup?
Yeah, it makes you look thinner, right? It like defines your jawline for you. It's like a lady wearing foundation, kind of, if you will. So I call it man makeup. And then I was talking to one of our good buddies, DJ Redline, right? He was out here down from Nashville or Lauderdale. He's in Fort Lauderdale now. But I was talking to him, and he goes, "Oh yeah," he goes, "when I go on and do my shows, I wear man makeup too. Let me see. Hold on. Yep, I still got the guy liner on." I'm like, I wasn't talking about that. I was just talking about the beard.
Well, I mean, in show business, a lot of that stuff is covered under the man makeup, and it is widely acceptable to have a powdered nose and things of that nature. I prefer to go all natural and HD here, so you guys can get the full horror of what I deal with looking in the mirror every single day. It's a crapshoot every single day. You never know what you're going to look at. It's great. It's great.
It's your look. It's unique to you. You own it.
Well, thank God, because if anybody else looked like this, I don't know. It might be a little.
Confidence is very important in life. Very important.
You know what I found the older I get, and I'm starting to relate to older people, like when I was, younger, and I'm like, these guys just don't give a fuck.
No.
I'm at that level. Yeah. I'm at that level. I just don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a dad bod. Whatever. I don't care. I still have a beautiful wife, much younger than me. I have beautiful dogs.
Oh, we're talking about like going to the beach or like taking your shirt off somewhere. I couldn't care less about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The only thing that does bother me now, this does bother me, is like the older I get, the weirdest places hair starts to grow. So like obviously I've lost all of my head on my hair on my head for the most part. It's like the football fields that you got a sod in between the numbers here, but the outsides are good, but the action that gets to play is pretty much gone. But then like as older I get more hair on my back, like on my shoulders. It's just like you see some of those guys out there.
Thank God those were the places that you were talking about, because minds can wander around here.
Well, where else would you grow hair that doesn't normally already happen?
It is. Did you just get a haircut or a shave, I should say? Because it's looking very aerodynamic.
I changed my regiment. I used to do it, I think, on Fridays, but now I do it on Sunday mornings. I shave my beard and my head because I take my dogs for walks on every other morning. So when I come back, it's very hard to cut my hair when I'm dripping in sweat, as it is 90 degrees at 6 o'clock in the morning here now. So yes, I Sundays. So every Monday I'll be nice and fresh. Every Friday I'll be loose as goose.
You were mentioning, things that you don't really care about anymore. Do you have any like super pet peeves that you just absolutely hate that you can't stand?
There's too many to list. Everything annoys me anymore. Everything.
Just
today, first world problems. I come up here to do our little pre-show. I click the buttons down there to make my coffee. So when it comes down, and I am very blessed. I have a Melee machine, which is top notch. I basically have a Starbucks in my house, but I go down there for the simple lungo coffee. Just the lungos, because the regular coffees they're made out of espresso beans. They will literally knock your socks off. I would be zooming all day long. So I go down there, whatever, hit the button. Forgot I left the dogs outside for quite a while. Whatever. Let them in, come back up here, finish, and then go back down to pick up my coffee right before the show starts. And guess what? It's out of water.
With honey, not Splenda.
Yes, I had to switch to raw honey because I saw an article that there was something with Splenda now that is like it has a carcinogen in it or something of that nature. And my wife doesn't want me to have it. A carcinogen, carcinogen.
Okay.
I think a carcinogen is like what's in cigarettes as well. You know, something that will kill you.
Okay. All right.
What? Am
No,
I?
it's very interesting your battles that you pick sometimes.
It's not me.
Oh, who is it?
Oh God, it's my wife.
Ah,
Yeah,
bless her.
my wife is she's very holistic now.
Holistic?
Very no artificial, no preservatives, everything healthy, fresh from the farm, which I'm fine with. But she, for some reason, she feels like Whole Foods is the only place that she can get it. And I've really started to educate her on certain things, right? Because we get free Walmart memberships with our credit cards, and Walmart is free delivery, and they have a lot of the same stuff. So I'm literally picking out two items. One in particular I'm going to give you is Milo's Sweet Tea. We switched to Milo Sweet Tea because it's pure cane sugar, and it's way, way less sugar than Publix. Because if you drink Publix Sweet Tea, as you know, it's like liquid sugar, which I loved. But as I tried to,
Southern tea at its best.
as I try to conform more to my wife's, wants for me to stay alive for longer, which I don't know why, because I have a dope life insurance policy for her.
I mean, good for her.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I switched over. So at Walmart, that is $3.39 a jug. At Whole Foods, it is $7.20. The exact same jug. So yeah, so that's what I've been working on.
What credit card do you have that gives you free Walmart delivery?
I have the American Express card.
The Platinum?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You get free Walmart. You get a lot of credits with that.
I didn't know that.
I mean, the fee is...
I know the perks are crazy. Like, especially if you travel, that Platinum card is like
the fees are a little high. Obviously, it's like $700. But you get $100 credit every night you stay for use at all the hotels that you use. You get upgraded check-ins. You get $15 a month in Uber credits. You get $30 a month in like online streaming credits. It pays for itself, dude. It pays for itself. But yes.
Yeah. No, 100%.
But yeah, so Splenda. So I found the Splenda. So now I'm on this, and everything annoys me anymore. I'm the old grumpy guy now. I've settled into it. I was going back VOD reviewing our podcast the other day because we're looking for clips as we try to expand our thing. And I came across the episode of I can't wait to get into a 55 plus community, which you were asking me if I was going to the villages or something like that. And I literally, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to get into a 55 and up community. I really can't. It's going to be
cart, shuffleboard.
Bro, I loved shuffleboard when I was a kid. Loved shuffleboard. Pickleball.
You're like,
yeah, I'm
walking around. There are a bunch of nudist colonies over there, from what I understand as well too.
Yeah, definitely not doing that. But just a case in point. So
you were just talking about you're confident now. You don't care. It's like whatever.
Nah, I'm still not just. I already have dinner at 4 p.m. Jeremy, so that's already on there. I'm not talking.
Dinner at 4?
Yeah, I eat dinner like 4 or 5 o'clock. Absolutely.
That's what I'm going to work.
I know, but that's the last meal I eat for the day.
I thought you were coming in this weekend too.
You weren't there.
Well, I was there Saturday and Sunday.
I think I'm coming in Tuesday. I talked to Ray, and he asked why I was coming in. I said, maybe I just want to see you. He goes, I'm sure there's an ulterior motive. And I said, that hurts. That hurts. But I think we're coming in Tuesday.
Cool.
But yeah, so let's get into it, huh? We got a few things to talk about. We're going to end on probably one of the most controversial topics we've ever talked about.
Hey, I did want to say real quick, one of my biggest pet peeves that I hate. I have two. And they're things that are completely controllable by humans, yet we refuse to do them. One is bringing the cart into the cart return whenever you're out at a Publix or any kind of a shopping center. That is number one. Number two is when dudes pee all over the seat in public restrooms and leave it there for the next person to clean up.
Well, yeah, I can agree with the first one. If the corral is on the other side, I will make sure it's in a secure location.
Don't be that. Do not tell me you are this person.
It depends on where it's at, and if there's other carts there.
You don't calculate where you parked so that it's close to the cart return whenever you're bringing your cart back?
No, but a lot of times I have walked it all the way back to the front of the building. And there's also been times when I've seen another customer taking their cart, and I've grabbed their cart for them from their car and returned it and used said cart.
thinking about it from a pure analytical view, right? So let's say you can park 2 more spots farther down, but you're closer to the cart return, right? So that's less steps for you to take overall. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but can I just preface this saying I very rarely use a cart. Everything I go,
Because you order everything?
Yeah, I don't even go to the store anymore, and if I do, it's just a couple bags.
Please don't be that person that leaves a cart.
But
laying around.
But now that you said that, and the other one was what?
People who pee on the toilet seats and just leave it.
I've made posts back in the day, like, gentlemen, like, help us out here. We're all in the guy's bathroom. Someone's gonna have to take a shit in that toilet at some point that has no control over where they can shit. They're gonna have to use it. It's gonna be an emergency. Just lift up the seat, man. Lift up the seat. I know we do it at home all the time and we get pissed, but help out your fellow man. Lift the seat and let us sit down in peace. The worst ones is the gyms. The gyms bathrooms. Oh my God, dude. I can't even walk into LA anymore. That gym. I walk in like this 9 times out of 10. It's so bad. But
you still going to LA?
I did until I have a little bit of a medical condition that I have to. I can't work out anymore right now. To be determined.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. But I'll tell you, the other thing that really, now that you say that really does piss me off is people who drive in the left-hand lane and don't move. That's probably my number one, honestly, because I drive a little bit faster. And now that I have a truck that is really fast, like, I can get in and out very easily. It's just, they just get in the left-hand lane, bro, and they just stay there for all eternity. They have no inclination, nothing. Just move over, bro. Move over. I'm convinced that 95% of traffic problems in the United States, probably the world, are because of people in the left-hand lane.
What do you think the proper speed is? So, like, let's say you're in the left lane, right? You're going X miles an hour over the speed limit, and then there's somebody riding up on you.
You move.
Of course, but what is like if I'm going 15 over the speed limit, right?
Doesn't matter.
Isn't that acceptable though to consider myself in the left lane?
No.
15 over the speed limit.
I've gone 95 miles an hour on the highway before and riding in the right-hand lane and been passed. I mean, it's just what it is. So, like, if
talking about a standard that we should set.
You can be okay. So let's just say that you're going 15 miles an hour. So let's say you're going 85 in the left-hand lane, right? And you're passing people sporadically, but you're not actively passing someone, okay? But you're in the left-hand lane, but you don't want to move over to the right because then you're in about 30 seconds you're going to have to move back over. I'm good with you staying in the left-hand lane as long as you're looking in your rearview mirror. But if you see somebody coming up behind you that is obviously going faster than you, you need to get over. The left-hand lane is for actively passing only. Actively passing. That is the law. Actively passing.
I agree with that on a 3-lane road. On a 2-lane road, it's a little bit tougher.
No, it's not. How is it tougher?
It is tougher.
You pass somebody, you get back over on the right-hand lane.
But it's just there's tighter parameters to work within, as opposed to on the 3-lane road. If you're on the highway, it's very different. You're able to kind of bob and weave as opposed to.
But that's the problem. You shouldn't have to bob and weave.
You're reckless driving.
You shouldn't have to bob and weave. The only reason why you have to bob and weave is because people aren't respecting the lanes that they should be in. When you have a 3-lane highway and you have 3 people that are all going the same mileage per hour and blocking everybody up, and then one just kind of barely gets over so people can start squeezing in, that's when you see F1 car tracks and everybody's like do. It looks like Frogger out there because people are trying to jockey for positions to get around a car. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. But yes, that's my pest. And so it is a ticketable offense, Jeremy, but nobody does anything about it because as a society we have so many other problems apparently. Which we do. Which we are going to get into that. All right. You ready?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Give me my medicine.
Not much. I was really hoping Justice would have been here by now. I noticed that he has cowered away over the past few podcasts and has decided to not show up. Wait.
He's got a lot
wait,
going
he
on.
is in here. Justice.
He's got a lot going on right now.
Justice,
All right?
whose
He's
playlist is
working a
this?
lot.
Okay, so that playlist is my company, Live Life Media Group. That is my artist. That is now under the name Lord Kilo Code or LKT. You can find him on all platforms. Please download
Wait,
his
what's
music.
his name?
LKT. That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
What? No, what does it stand for?
LKT. So anyway, I'm glad that you're in here, Justice, because let me tell you who is stopping your Miami Heat. And that is, as Stephen A. Smith called him, I don't want to misquote this here. A fat tub of lard. A fat tub of lard out of Denver is stopping your Miami Heat. Miami Heat went into Miami, Denver went into Miami, took care of business. There was a lot of harsh criticism from their coach in regards to Game 3 and their Justice. I already told you who's stopping your Miami Heat. You can't keep typing it. Who's their intensity, and I think it showed up on the floor on Game 4. Once again, Denver exerted its dominance and just completely took over the game from the start. Aaron Gordon is I know, Jeffrey, I know, but Aaron Gordon is absolutely rising to this occasion. That game that he had last game was absolutely amazing. Hitting threes, his positioning in the blocks, the layups, the lob dunks, the lobs, tip-ins. He had a couple extremely athletic plays in there that I was like, oh, okay. And I knew that if Jeff was watching that it was just kind of burning him on the inside, because if you know Jeff's passion for Aaron Gordon out of the Orlando Magic, it's not one that comes from a good place. So we're going back to Denver for Game 5. This is where it ends. I thought it would be Denver in 6. It's not going 6. It's Denver in 5. It's going to be closed out. Hats off to the Miami Heat, though, for this incredible run. I am calling it. It is over. The series is on life support. Eric Spoelstra did what he could. At the end of the day, that Denver team was just way too talented. They did exactly what we thought. The Denver has been favored in every single game, and they will continue to be favored in this one. I do believe this one they're favored by double digits. And, you might as well just, I don't know, maybe hit the Mile High Club, maybe, get a little of that Denver medicine out there and have a good time. Maybe hit the slopes. I don't know if there's snow out there right now, but, I don't know. Jimmy Buckets, Jimmy James, I don't know, but it's over.
Jimmy James don't do that. It's been a tough series for Jimmy Butler. He hasn't played well. He's deferred a lot in situations where he should be aggressive, and it's almost like he's trying to be more of a James than a Jordan, which he isn't. That's not his DNA. You were born a Jordan, son. We need you to be a Jordan. We'll see if he can step up and do it in this game tonight. I'm sure
even if he steps up, he might have a good game. They're not winning this game.
My problem with Aaron Gordon too is that he had a great game. He had some jump shots. He had some nice, between the legs, that little layup that he had, that reverse from that was the vision of Jokic, the execution of the pass, to the reception of to the back cut by Gordon, to the catch and the putback was one of the most beautiful plays, in my opinion, in the NBA Finals I've ever seen in my life. That being said, this is what Aaron Gordon will shoot well, and then he'll think that he's the man and come out and shoot absolutely terrible. So let's see what Aaron Gordon shows up tonight. There is a bit of pressure, right, to kind of close this out tonight, because if you don't and you got to go back to Miami, it's the pressure has completely swung, right? Pressure was all in Miami last game. Now everybody expects Denver to come out and win this game, which is usually the time that Miami shows up. This game could get out of hand. This game could be 25, 30 points in the first half. I wouldn't be surprised by that. I would also not be surprised to see the Miami Heat win this game and bring it back to Miami as well. I think both things are viable and on the table. I think Spo needs to come up with something. I love the Kevin Love move. I had mentioned the Kevin Love move before, earlier in the series. I thought it was a great piece that he did by implementing him into the starting lineup as well. Listen, you got to take your hats off to Jokic and also Murray as well. Murray didn't shoot the ball well last game. He still dishes out 12 times. Jokic, he's been amazing from three-point line. And even though he didn't shoot great last game, he got into foul trouble in the fourth quarter. Then you see a guy like Bruce Brown step up and just completely control 2 minutes of the game and go on a run by himself. So it's what makes Denver dangerous. Miami needs guys to step up and knock down shots, whether it's Strus, whether it's Vincent, whether it's Martin, whether it's Duncan Robinson. Somebody's got to step up tonight. Somebody's got to hit shots. Kyle Lowry's got to be the vet that we know that he is. Bam, continue to be Bam. And we'll see what happens.
What's going to happen is the Denver Nuggets are going to win the game, and the NBA Finals are going to be over. That's what's going to happen.
People also said what's going to happen was that it was going to be a sweep, and the series was over before it started, and Miami shouldn't show up, and blah blah blah. So
I agree. And Denver said, "Nah, we're going to take the day off on this one." They probably went to the Mile High Club that night, and probably had a little something. We're feeling a little droggy the next day. Interesting take from Marcus Buffington on YouTube. I still think Jimmy's hurt, and say it. We'll find out later for that type of stuff. That could very well be the case.
Could be.
There's definitely a gear that he has not hit in this finals, which usually superstars take it up a gear. We find that he's kind of just idling in neutral there. So I don't know what's going on.
He's been super passive, so not like him.
Very. But, he's still making the moves and stuff, which to me is weird. So it's like, if you can do all this other stuff, you can shoot. But I still think it's the same thing that we've talked about. Anything with Denver and Jimmy Buckets is you just don't go for the fakes. If you don't go for the fakes of Jimmy Buckets, you're going to be fine. But he gets to the foul line by those fakes are so good. You're trying to go for the block, and then he just draws the contact. I definitely think, like you said, I think that the Miami Heat have nothing to prove to anybody. They've had an absolute amazing season for the team that's constructed. I think that we've seen, Tyler Hero not playing. I don't know how much that's impacted, but he is a starter for them. Kevin Love coming off the bench. Yeah, Kevin Love coming off the bench. Has provided a little bit of spark. As you said, Kyle Lowry has, I don't know where he's been, but like I said, I think Miami just needs to hit the Ganja Club, enjoy the time out in Denver. It's not going back to Miami. And
give me Miami tonight.
I will. So the other one that we have going on, the NHL Stanley Cup, the Lord Stanley Cup Finals. The Golden Knights took a 3-1 series lead over the Florida Panthers the other night. The Florida Panthers almost tied it up with a 0.05 seconds left to go. And what we've seen throughout this entire series, if the Florida Panthers can play in period 3 in overtime, the way that they play like the same style that they play in periods 3 and overtime, in periods 1 and 2, they might have a shot in this series. However, periods 1 and 2, they look very lackadaisical. After the first 5 minutes of opening, I don't know if they get tired or what, but then Vegas completely takes control, and then Florida is continuing to fight from behind, which they have the entire series. I saw Brooks Koepka there again. It looked like he was ripped as ever, enjoying the time that he had down in Miami. They really need to stop putting the camera on that guy because it's not doing him any good. We're talking about 8 o'clock, and, we're talking about full-on live eyeballs. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about live golf. I'm talking about live nightclub eyeballs. Yeah.
But like mine right now.
It's good to see him out there. But again, I think this one goes the same way as the NBA. The West is going to come back home to Las Vegas, and they will take it from there. Both of these series, in my opinion, end up 4-1, which is not what we want in any finals of any sport. But if you I think I mentioned the last podcast, if you look over the past, I think 8 NBA finals, nothing's ever went past 4-2. So we haven't really had a good matchup in quite a while. This year's no different. I don't know if you caught any of the hockey. Probably not.
Not really.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I did.
Las Vegas scoring quite a bit. I wasn't there. There was a big fight at the end of this.
There was
last game, right?
Yeah, the Vegas goalie's a punk, in my opinion. They were just trying to put the puck in, and then the play's over, and the goalie just comes straight out and starts, checking. When a goalie does something, it intensifies everything. Because obviously every other player is going to protect their goalie or whatever, and then it just went into a complete scrum after that. Plus, everybody knows at the end of the game, unless you do something completely egregious, like beat somebody with a stick across the face, you're not going to get called for anything. There's no penalties. The game's over. You're not going to be infracted in the next game. So it's kind of a free-for-all. So everybody's choking, holding. My favorite is taking the glove and putting it in someone's face, just rubbing it in their face. That was there was a lot of that going on. But yeah, there was a nice little scrum. It should be interesting the first period. I do believe that we probably will see a fight on the next one, which everybody loves in hockey. So we'll see how that happens.
When's the next game with that?
I do believe that is tomorrow. We have NBA tonight, correct?
Yeah, NBA's tonight, 8:30.
Then we should be NHL tomorrow.
Make sure you're tuned into ABC,
Hashtag yes, tomorrow. I didn't see it, but we're moving on to the PGA. We had the Canadian Open. I tell you, For me, I had that little spark where I was interested in golf again, and to me, it's out. I don't know what it is. I can't get into it anymore. Somebody that used to be very passionate about the game. I don't know if it's what's going on with it. I just don't know. To me, there's just no excitement in golf anymore. And maybe I think that's just me being old again. And all of the players that I used to root for are pretty much gone. No Tiger. Now, if there was a Tiger in there, whatever. But we did see that there was a 72-foot putt made on the fourth playoff hole of this tournament to sink it and win for the first Canadian person ever. Or not, or since 1951 or something like that.
Yeah, so Chad was on and he said, historically, make sure you fade all the Canadian golfers because they don't perform. Canadian had not won here in 72 years or 70 something years. 70 years.
I think he said it was like 1951 or something like that.
69, something like that. Anyway,
1954.
1954. So you're talking 69 years. Canadian hadn't won the Canadian Open. MAFF. So yeah, the Canadians are usually a fade when it comes to this tournament. And the boys had some really good picks out there, whether it be Rye, whether it was Fleetwood, whether it was Tyrell Hatton, all guys who were super, super in the mix. And out of nowhere, this guy Nick Taylor comes out, plays really well. Not out of nowhere, he's a solid golfer on the PGA Tour. But yeah, they go to the fourth playoff hole with Tommy Fleetwood. I thought I had this week's fantasy wrapped up in the bag. I didn't realize the guys below me had Nick Taylor because I didn't think they could catch me. All of a sudden, he hits the eagle putt on the fourth playoff hole from 72 feet to walk it off and win, and it just goes. I mean, it was scenes, dude. People going crazy, jumping up and down. You could hear the roar through the television, and then his buddy Adam Hadwin, another Canadian golfer, grabs champagne. Runs out there to spray the champagne all over him. And lo and behold, security come out of left field and literally Goldberg spear the dude onto the ground because they thought he was just a patron and didn't know he was a golfer. And then you see everybody run there to be like, no! But it was pretty funny. If you get a chance, look it up on the internet. It's everywhere.
I did see it. It was a nice form tackle by the security guard.
I'm telling you, it was a Goldberg spear from back in the day. For those of you who don't know,
I mean, he's got full wrap around the ass and the hips, and his head's right underneath the shoulder. I mean, it's a great form tackle. NFL, CFL, XFL. You might want to look at this guy.
USFL.
Somebody.
Arena football. We got it all out here now. We are football junkies, country. But yeah, really good. We have the U.S. Open coming up this week out at Los Angeles Country Club, I believe. And if you've seen some of the videos, this is going to be carnage this week. Rough is literally your ball. You can barely find your ball 2 feet off the green because the rough's so high. There's a par 3, number 11 on this course is a 290-yard par 3.
That's just dumb. That's just dumb.
290 yards with imagine 2 foot rough just off the green.
That's dumb. What do you hit? What are the pros hitting in there? 2 irons?
A lot of 5 wood. 5 wood. I mean, I guess some guys might carry a 7, depending on where pin position will play at some point.
I would think if the rough is that bad, that some of those guys would move from the long irons to the hybrids. Just for the ability to get out of there.
Yeah, you can see it like a 3 hybrid just to make sure that.
Give me a break, dude. That's just
crazy.
Dumb. That's just dumb. Dumb.
Listen, we'll see what happens. Should be good. It's going to be a great week of golf, though. Obviously, you're going to have all the live guys there this week as well, too, teamed up with all of the PGA pros as well. So I'm sure there will be some good content based off of that. Really looking forward to having the boys on Wednesday to break down who they like. As they stay on fire. They didn't have the winner this week, but their top 10s, their top 20s, man, just really, really, they are on fire right now when it comes to golf. So make sure you tune in on Wednesday for the second portion of that show.
We need to get an outlet for that. We need a proxy in Vegas.
You need a proxy in Vegas?
Yeah.
Call Kelly. She runs a proxy service out there.
I know. I'm going out there in August to put in the
PR?
Well, I am. You're more than welcome to come. I'm putting in the uninformed fans circa $1 million entry fee for the NFL this year. We are going to be in that.
The what? Now?
It's called the circa.
The circa millions.
Yes, the circa millions.
What's the buy-in?
Grand. We are in it.
Go.
Yeah. Hopefully, it just doesn't
What's
follow.
the format? Do you know what the format is for that? You have to
pick 3 games against the spread,
and you have to get all 3 right.
No, it just goes by your win percentage for the year.
Okay. Cool.
So, I think our good friend Jeff Petch won a few years ago at 78%. He hit.
That's incredible.
Yeah, good stuff. So I'll be bouncing some ideas off of him as well. But yeah, he's in it. So that's who I'm getting as far as my entry in that group. So all of that will come to fruition in August. So while I'm out there discussing, maybe we can get a little proxy going on for that as well. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look into it.
We need to get with the boys and figure out how we can get it going. Yeah, the doggy's up there. I saw her. Poochie.
So the house that I'll go off on a tangent real quick. The house that we have just moved into, we're still in the process of getting everything out of our old house and into this new house. But this house is it's 2 stories, and every room is on the 2nd floor. So everything that you do has to be brought up the stairs to put it into every single room. So it's been a really fun week for me. Having a bad back, I got to go to the chiro. The problem is that we have a teacup Yorkie as well, and she's dumb, to say the least, because what she does is that she can run up the stairs fine. She doesn't like to go down the stairs, so she'll sit at the very top and bark and chirp and yip until somebody goes to move her off the stairs. And then when she's not moved off the stairs, or if you walk up to move her, she'll run away from you. But then she'll run back to the stairs like she wants you to come move her down the stairs. It's infuriating, dude. It really is.
So it looks like we need a little Finkel from the top rope, huh?
Well, what we're going to do is I'm buying a baby
doggy gate. Yeah.
Yeah, a little baby gate, doggy gate that we're going to have as well, too. She's fine. Hi, Sienny. Say hello to everybody.
Hi. She's so annoying.
She's fine.
Say hello, please.
There she is.
I can
there
see.
She is.
I can see her. What?
Yeah, that's my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law flies out to Brazil today as well too. So,
long day.
It's gonna be a fun few days.
Well, capping up on the PGA here before we move on a little bit, we did get a little bit of the PGA deal coming out and some leaks coming out as far as the rewards for the golfers that are coming out. And Monahan has said that the people that stayed with PGA will be rewarded by stock options in the Saudi investment fund, which to me, I find it whatever. It's quite. I really enjoyed Will Zalatoris' tweet. I'm Venmo requesting Monahan $150 million.
Yeah,
but that's gonna be my question is
so now the guys who stood on morals
are still gonna get paid by them.
Are you're still gonna have to receive money from the immorals that you are standing up against? That's
the infidels.
Yeah,
yeah. It's just the whole thing to me is it's literally comical at this point. I mean, there's nothing else you can do but laugh at it. But, the bigger question that we had as far as that goes, obviously we don't know what their stake is going to be and whether it's going to rival the $100 million that the other people have gotten. But I imagine it's probably going to be pretty close for those people over an X period of time. But there's still a lot of questions in regards to LIV itself. There's some people saying that they don't see LIV making it past this year, a.k.a. Rory. Then you have the other people from LIV and LIV saying that LIV is not going anywhere, that style format is going to continue on. So it'll be very interesting to see what really, really happens. I think the boys said that the 2024 PGA schedule was already finalized, correct?
And the LIV schedule. They're both going to be exactly what they are this year. They will be that next year as well too, and then they'll figure it out in 2025.
Yeah, so I think 2025 is really when we're. And actually, didn't we call that? I think we called 2025.
Well, only because we were talking about their contracts and when their contracts actually ran up with LIV, and
so that might be the time that we see, the PGA and LIV kind of coincide schedules as far as availability to ensure some of these tournaments don't overlap. Maybe this is where the PGA can also take a point for these guys that say that they're burnt out. Maybe they drop some of the lower end ones, you know, the ones that don't make money. Unfortunately for the journeyman on the PGA Tour, that's probably what's going to happen. But then they might have the opportunity to go play over at the Live during that week, right? So that would be a way to kind of coincide. It's going to be very, very interesting. The hypocrisy, though, is just absolutely amazing that's coming out of this, and how money ended up prevailing and continuing to move forward. But
always wins.
Money always wins.
Guys like Ian Poulter and Lee Westwood, you know, you guys will be, you know, resigned to charity golfers for the rest of your life. It will be, you know, and you're now paired up with your foursome.
You know
Ian Poulter.
You know the one person that I really just want to see go away from all of this is
Monahan?
is the commentator from Golf Channel. Jeremy, what's his name? Oh God, what?
I'm excited to get David Faraday back. I think that's a huge win for golf fans in general, because I do love Faraday. I'm sure Paul
he's awesome.
Faraday. I don't know why, but I feel like Paul doesn't like Faraday.
Brandel Chambly.
What's wrong with Brandel Chambly?
He had, throughout the entire time, basically has said that any of these golfers that they're pieces of shit. That he has come out very, very outspoken in regards to any player's character. He has attacked them on his shows. He has continued to attack them throughout this whole process, and even through the merger. He has said that he will never cover golf if it relates to anything to do with Live. Okay? So now that this is all together, eat your words, bro. Those are the same people that kind of said, you know, if Trump got elected, that they're going to Canada, but your ass is still here. Okay, I can throw out words all day long and say, well, if Jeffrey doesn't bow to my commands today and look at my point of view, I'm canceling the show. But if I show up the next show, then what do you value that comes out of my mouth anymore? If you say you're going to do something, do it. So you said that you wouldn't have anything to do with anything with this Live or the Saudis' money or anything of that nature. So guess what? If you're getting paid by a byproduct of Saudi money, you are therefore entwined with the Saudi money. So I need you to go ahead and resign and just fade off in the distance and go play in your club pros. Okay? That'd be great. Thank you.
He's been a part of the tour for a long time, and I'm sure he was very outspoken. I don't see him going anywhere on Golf Channel.
No, of course not. He's just one of those hypocrites that says I'm going to do everything and then just doesn't do it. Because he thinks that his voice is going to carry through the masses, and then Live and the Saudis are going to hear Brandel Chambly and say, oh, we should just not do this anymore because of his excellent Brandon Chambly.
What is that? Who are you mocking there?
Him. And his hoity-toity. Pinky out, drinks up.
Pinky out?
Pinky out, baby. So we did have a little NFL news over the last week that we didn't really get to due to our break with Jeffrey moving into his wonderful new home. Dalvin Cook, your Florida State Dalvin Cook, was just suddenly released by the Minnesota Vikings in a stunning move that sent shockwaves through the NFL. What are your
I don't think it was stunning or shocking. I believe it was pretty much coming down the pipe for about a month or 6 weeks that they knew it was happening. They were trying to get a trade partner for him. Nobody wanted to trade for him. They were definitely not going to pay him on his contract, which was the other issue as well too. They just didn't want to come off on the cap hit on it. It was amicable, I believe, the way that they parted ways. Obviously, Dalvin had a down year. You know, it's tough when you get these guys who they're so good in college, man. And literally, Dalvin Cook carried Florida State for like 2 years. Like, Florida State was garbage. They were not good. Our offensive line was terrible. Jimbo was checked out. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Anyway, so he literally carried Florida State for 2 years, put a lot of mileage on him. Obviously goes to the NFL. Great rookie year. He's had a little bit of a decline lately, but I do think he'll latch on to somebody. They're talking about Miami. Obviously, he's from Miami. That's where his home is. There's also rumors about Buffalo, him going there. So we'll see what happens with that. I think Buffalo probably has a little bit of money to spend, and if they're going to go after DeAndre Hopkins, then it's got to be like, this or that. The other intriguing part about Buffalo is that his brother's there, right? So you got James Cook there, who's about to step into his first season as a lead back in the NFL in that role. Do you want to bring in his brother as like a mentor, as a role model to be there and kind of show him the way and show him how to be a pro a little bit better than he was last year? So these are all great questions. It'll be fun to see where he ends up, but he will end up on an NFL roster this year for sure.
You know, it's just amazing to me that we've talked about the NFLs and the running backs numerous times about how there's just no value in them anymore. And they really are just feel like the positions that's used like a wet towel, wrung out and just thrown off to the side when it's no longer useful. But as we talked about, they're probably one of the ones that have the most touches outside of the quarterback on the team. It's just crazy that
they never get paid. They never get paid. They got to figure something out with that.
$15 million. I mean, but I mean, in comparison to what a wide receiver gets, or even hell, Roquan Smith got $20 million.
But you're talking about longevity of career as well too, so that should factor into any of that stuff as well, because they're not playing as many years as everybody else is. Their window is 6 to 8 years in the NFL. If you're really good, if not, it's like a year and a half too.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah, they're not going to pay any more money. I think we all know that. I'm still surprised DeAndre Hopkins doesn't have a clear landing spot yet. Could this be one of those things where DeAndre Hopkins, kind of starts off the year unsigned and then comes into a team within week 3 or 4?
Nope. Not unless there's a suspension coming down the pipe for something else. But he is a guy who has missed time in his career with soft tissue injuries pretty much every single year. I don't think he's ever played 16 games or played a full season. And then obviously he's suspended for the first part of last year for the PED use, which was completely accepted, took it on the chin, said, yeah, I did it. I messed up. It won't happen again. But there's got to be a little trepidation when it comes to that as well, too. Is this guy going to be healthy? How much do you want to pay him? Is he going to fit your system? Unfortunately, I feel like the best place for him to land is probably Kansas City. When it comes to somebody he's going to be able to thrive with, not have to be amazing. We saw it happen with a guy like Sammy Watkins or a guy like Josh Gordon, where, maybe these guys later in their career hop on with Mahomes and just kind of go crazy. Juju had a decent year last year as well, too. So I see Kansas City probably in his future. I monitor closely. I wanted him to go to Baltimore personally. I thought Baltimore was perfect with Lamar. You give, Odell Beckham. Now you have, the running backs. You got Mark Andrews as well, too. You got a good line. You got a great defense. You're Super Bowl contenders. I mean, sky's the limit for Baltimore if you went there.
I mean, I think the same thing is in Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City was in the Super Bowl last year, right? I mean, that's just scary. It's scary. He's scary on both of those teams. That's just the rich getting richer at that point. I mean, holy moly. Imagine just throwing another arsenal, Imagine having 2 Tom Brady's out there. I
did see that there was a thing about how he was interested in New England, and Belichick was interested as well too. But I just don't see New England going all in like that for weapons for Mac Jones. I see New England maybe slow playing this year and going after a May or a Williams or somebody like that in the draft and kind of reloading at that position. So.
I don't know if those guys are the answer.
The Patriots.
Absolutely. Moving on to the Giants over there. Saquon Barkley, he says he's not going to report to camp until a deal gets done. He's not going to play under the franchise tag. He's not going to show up to mini camps. I think that's just a big deal for the New York Giants here. I mean, obviously, his value is something to be determined based on his injuries and stuff. I think we can all agree when he is healthy, he is one of the premier running backs in the league, and there's things that he can do that most cannot. However, with his injury-prone status, I doubt that the New York Giants are going to be willing to give somebody that $15 million a year, especially as what we're talking about. They just paid Daniel Jones. They're still going to need more weapons for him. And as we talked about the running back position, it's just... I hate to say that use the term it's a dime a dozen, but it's a dime a dozen. I mean, you can get a running back in, later rounds of drafts. You can trade for relatively low cost for like 4th, 5th round picks. I don't see them going all out on this. I know that the original reports that we saw out there was he was looking for a Christian McCaffrey type deal. I don't think you'll ever see a Christian McCaffrey type deal out of a running back again moving forward. I think it's kind of like the Deshaun Watson thing where that's never going to happen again. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. I don't think that's the exact same collusion as Watson in that contract. But I just don't see anybody paying a Christian McCaffrey type contract for a running back anymore, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah, now especially now without Christian McCaffrey production. I'll say this about Saquon. I'm assuming he's going to play under the franchise tag. He's just trying to hold out to get a deal done before camp starts and before he starts to get fined for not showing up.
Oh, he is going to play on the franchise tag.
Yeah, I think he would be a fool to pass up $15 million in terms of, playing under that.
Jimmy just put out there the initial deal that was leaked was $14 million per year. What are you waiting on, bro? Franchise tag is only 10.1.
Oh, I thought the franchise tag was 15 for some reason.
Yeah, I think that's wide receiver.
Okay.
But yeah,
so 10.1. If they're going to give you 14 a year, even if it's guaranteed for 3 years, bro, you should jump on it.
Yeah,
It's easy for me to say because it's not my money, and I'm obviously just spitballing and talking objectively as an uninformed fan. But
I look at it this way, right? Okay, and this is how I'd put this in perspective. If I go to buy a car, okay, and that car costs me $50,000, okay, and let's just say that's the sticker price, and I feel comfortable at $47,000 out the door, okay, and they come back with 49, and I come back and we get to around 48.5, right? But I really think that 47's my number. Am I going to walk away from this deal over $1,500? I mean, when you look at the percentage of what that is, the single digit percentages, do you leave a couple percentages on the table to get the deal done, or do you continue to fight with the possibility that you don't get anything? And I think that that's what you have to look at when it comes to some of these negotiations. I don't know what exactly he's asking for, just like, we didn't really know what Roquan was asking for until the end when it came out he wanted $20 million a year. But if he wants I think Christian McCaffrey is the number one paid running back, if I'm not mistaken. Jeremy checked me on that, at like 15.5 a year, something of that nature. But we already know that the NFL is not really moving that direction. Running backs are getting paid less and less. And if you're going to get the $14 million for 3 years, as you just said, and honestly, if it was $14 million with only, let's just say 80% of the contract guaranteed, I would be interested as well playing for 12.5 for a fully guaranteed contract. The numbers would equate to the same amount. It doesn't really matter as far as what you're doing. It's just how many of those tenths of a percentages and those 1s and 2s and 3s are going to add up to where you get to 4 or 5% to where you feel that that's just no longer good enough for you is the end of the day. But as what I was saying, if you walk out of there without a contract, okay, and God forbid you get hurt under the franchise tag, that's it. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. McCaffrey is signed to the 49ers through 20 with salaries of 11.8 and 12 million. So I think he got his on the front end from the Panthers. I know Zeke was the highest paid at the moment. I do believe it, like 14.8 or something of that nature. So
Zeke's still a free agent too.
Yeah, I think he will be one that goes into a few weeks in the season before anybody even signs him as well. The Bucs are bringing back the creamsicle uniforms, Jeffrey. Sunday, October 15th. Sunday, October 15th. How you feeling about that?
The creamsicles?
Yeah, creamsicles.
I love the creamsicle jerseys. They're great.
How did we not get Tom Brady in a creamsicle jersey?
Absolute madness to me. All because of some helmet rule that they couldn't. The NFL is so stupid, dude. Ugh.
Well, speaking of stupidity,
some of my favorite jerseys of all time.
It's a shipping problem. Yeah, they were still using the COVID shit from 2020. Yeah, right. Well, I don't know if you saw. I know that we saw. I don't know if the rest of us saw. Over in esports, we had a lot of drama over the weekend in regards to one of our favorite streamers, Nick Mercs. And as you know, Nick Mercs, he's kind of like us. He's a dickhead. He says what he was going to say, and he holds no qualms about it. Now, there was an issue that was going on in California in regards to a school board meeting in regards to introducing Pride Night, or Pride Month, recognizing Pride Month in the school. Now, it ended up being that there was clashes between the parents, fights breaking out, damage done. More actually comes out of that being that there's known Antifa members there at this said thing. So that just tells me once again that this is an inside job from people that are correlating from the outside to get two groups to continue to go after each other and divide. Now, he commented on this, on this video, because I do believe somebody said it was just outside of their area. And he commented on the book, they should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. Now, the entire cancel culture community has come up in arms saying that Nick Mercs is a homophobic. He is obviously against LGBTQ, whatever the rest of those things are. I don't want to not include anything. Based on that thing, he come out and he said that, hey, look, if you've been in Nick Mercs community, which I have been for almost 5 years now, there's never been one thing that has come out of his mouth in this community that has been ever directed towards anything as far as that community and putting people down. There's many members in there that are part of that community who have already come out and spoken. But Call of Duty, nonetheless, has removed his operator bundle from it due to his homophobic tweets. Now, it doesn't really matter what side you are on this. Okay, there's a bigger issue that's going on in America right now, where you can't have differences of opinion and have common conversations with people. And that's my biggest issue with this. In this day and age of cancel culture and everything else, there's going to be many different opinions from many different people. That doesn't mean that that person hates you. That doesn't mean that person's wrong with you. This just means that they have a different viewpoint. The problem is, in my opinion, that two people can't have a conversation like me and Jeff have every single day and bring up our points and have a conversation where at the end of the day, you can still respect someone, but not understand or believe in the same thing that they believe in. And I think that that is the bigger issue here, is you don't know, right? And there's no conversation. There's no gray anymore. It's either you're with us or you're against us. And if you're against us, then anything that you say is going to be taken in that way. And that is not the case at all. I think this is a huge overreaction. There's been many in this community that have come out and said, I understand what he's saying. Now, obviously, we live in Florida, which is probably, I would say, one of the most hottest states in regards to these debates. We have what's called the so-called Don't Say Gay bill, which I read in its entirety over the weekend to prepare for the show. That doesn't say that anything at all. It revolves around the teaching of kids pre-K through 3 about gender ideologies, about gender discussions, and what conversations can happen with the teachers with said student in regard to their own personal gender ideology of that nature and informing the parents. Okay, there's nothing in there about saying you can't talk about two moms, two dads, or anything of that nature, but yep, the media came out with the Don't Say Gay bill, and there we are with that. So there's a lot of issues that people just don't agree with about what's going on. And as a parent, I do believe it is your right to have a say in what your kid learns or ideology is taught. And if you really feel like, if you're part of this community, you feel like this has to be taught in school in order to reduce the amount of attacks, discrimination that these people feel, I think that your ideology is a little bit off, because if a child comes from a racist household and he is around a racist household 24/7, what conversation is going to happen in that school? It comes from the parents, right? And the parents have to be the ones to project love, inclusion, things of that nature. That's where it needs to come from as well. So I don't know. I feel like this cancel culture, I know that Tim, came out and removed his skin from the Call of Duty bundle as well. I really just feel like this is just a huge overreaction, in my opinion. Again, there's nothing homophobic about a parent wanting to have a say in what happens in their school. I know that you have children. I know that we've talked about this a lot, as far as, raising kids in this day is tough. It's tough. It's nothing, like it was, right? Where the kids just went out and played, and all of a sudden, at the street lights came on, it was time to come home. It's tough. But to me, again, and this is just my personal, this is my problem with social media and with texting and all of this. It's just words on paper, right? You don't know what somebody's truly feeling behind this. It's left open to interpretation. And without typing out 5,000 paragraphs or having a synopsis of what, it's going to be interpreted the way that you feel. And if you feel that it was an attack on you, that's how you're going to take it. If you feel like it coincides with your side, that's the way you're going to take it. And there's no open dialogue anymore, in my opinion. It's cut and dry. There's no vision. There's no opportunity to see anything from another person's angle. And I think that is the bigger problem that we have in this social media driven society, is that there's no openness, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about that, as far as those tweets, or if you want to even talk about it.
So and there's a broad, sprawling, wide range of topics that we can get into there. And so I'll just focus on a few of the points that I know personally for myself. And that is that, you know, kids, when they're super young like that, let's say pre-K to 3 or whatever, like, they're worried about like where, like, how to write their name, like how to read, what colors are, you know what I mean? Like, messing with their favorite superheroes. Like, my kid just, I'm gonna start calling Oliver Snacks, because all he wants to do is just eat a snack every single moment of the day. But they're definitely not worried about gender ideology. I can tell you that. Listen, I think we could all do better with what empathizing is, and that's part of having discussion and discourse with people, is empathizing with them and seeing their side and their point of view. And I think too many times we cut off and we become so emotional in terms of our own beliefs and our own point of view that we don't hear what the other side is trying to say. And so I think we could all be better at that at certain points. In terms of what Nick said, I didn't personally have a problem with it. I reached out to just a lot of my friends who, you know, play video games, who know who Nick Mercs is, who has followed the community, who is, you know, who maybe are more left thinking than I am. And, you know, do you have a problem with this? Well, absolutely not. I don't think you said anything that was controversial or wrong. But you're right. We do have a cancel culture now where it's, you know, it wants to be a gotcha moment. You know, everything's on paper, everything's done to that extent. Listen, I think, I hope I have friends in my life as good as Tim the Tapman is, where, you know, for Tim to be featured in Call of Duty like he was, for Tim to have his own operator, for Nick to be brought on with his own operator. And there was a huge pushback against that when it first happened. When they first brought him in, they said, why is Nick Mercs and Tim the Tapman have their own operators? They barely play Call of Duty, you know. But if you remember 2 to 3 years ago, you know, these guys were the faces of Call of Duty. They were playing COD every single day. It was back on Verdansk. You know, that was a huge uprising, in my opinion, in the gaming community, and they were champions behind that. Now, why did Call of Duty add them? Because Call of Duty has been dog shit this entire year.
And they're the two biggest streamers on their respective platforms as well.
It was a complete money grab by them, right? And so what they did is they went for the money grab. Let's add them. Let's have these people buy all their stuff, yada, yada, yada. And then they take one small thing that Nick says, and then all of a sudden now they create controversy and stuff around the game. Call of Duty sucks, right? And it was cool to see everybody uninstall COD because we're sick of the virtue signaling. You know what I mean? Like, Call of Duty literally made a homophobic advertisement a couple years ago, you know, and now you're going to jump the shark all the way to, like, try to knock somebody down. It just, to me, it's complete fake wokeness on their part. I don't like it.
Well, I mean, it's just cow tipping, right? It's cow tipping to the mob.
And I haven't played COD in a while, and a lot of my friends who we played COD together, you know, last year, this Warzone 2, this new thing they did, they all left. They went back to Fortnite, you know, and now we just play Fortnite, you know, Apex, whatever it is. Like, I don't need Call of Duty in my life that bad. You know, and so that's, you know, that's just kind of the way I see it. And like I said, I think we do need to be better at empathizing and, you know, seeing the other side of people who we might disagree with in terms of discourse. Because what we do now is we just shut it down, and we don't want to have conversations that make us uncomfortable. And that's a big problem. I think, and listen, I'll say this. Our culture was the last culture where to reach somebody, you had to go through their parents, you know what I mean? Or you had to call a landline, or, you know, you had to go to somebody's house and convince their parents to let them spend the night at your house. You know what I mean? Like, we had to go through these things. We had to, you know, understand and get through those situations, and it made us better as communicators and as people. Social media and the internet now has kind of knocked a lot of that down, where we don't communicate very well at all.
Well, like you said, it's very easy for somebody to also hide behind a keyboard, right, and just type what they want and with zero repercussions. You know, you did that in our day, and you said that to somebody's face. There was repercussions, right? You had to be a man of your actions. You had to be a man of your word. If you said something, okay, there was repercussions if they didn't like it. That's just the way it was. Well, now our repercussions are, and I guess I look at it this way: is the entire. Now, obviously, I'm coming from a different side point of this. You know, my wife, both of my sisters-in-law are gay. You know, I've had conversations with both of them. You know, and it just it's very interesting to hear what comes out of them and what they interpret and the information that they get. Right. They came over the other day. They were very upset because they said that DeSantis has signed a law in that says that if I'm gay, a doctor can refuse to save my life if I go into the hospital. And I said, what? I go, there's no way that could be. So I look it up, and it has to go. It has to go with gender surgeries, right? And a doctor can refuse a gender surgery to a patient and make them go to a different one. But that's what it is. And I showed them. They're like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's not what we heard." But it doesn't. That's what they get, right? Just like the "Don't Say Gay" bill. There's nowhere it says "Don't Say Gay," but that's what the media spun, and there's just so many greater forces working here, man. And honestly, I feel like maybe it's because I didn't notice this until Trump ran back in the day. Because when Trump first entered the race back in 2016, whatever that was, I think that's what it was. I had never paid attention to politics, right? Never paid attention to politics. And I think that the controversy that he brought into politics brought a lot more people into politics, right? And then we started to realize that the world isn't as we seem. Because I always said to my parents, they go, what part of your life has changed from president to president? How did your life actually change from president to president? It didn't, right? Except for now, we're starting to see some things starting to change with policies and things of that nature. But like you said, you know, going back to it, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just feel like we can't have any discussions anymore. There's nothing. If you even not even oppose, but if you propose a different view, right, you're just labeled. You're labeled as a homophobic, a transphobic. I mean, I saw something the other day. Well, I'm not even going to say that. I don't
even really care what people label me as.
Yeah.
And I try to teach my kids this is that, and you know, it's funny because I was talking about it with one of my buddies, and I was like, regardless of what we want to say, kids these days are exposed to these things at a much earlier age, and kids are extremely perceptive. They're super smart. Like we're sitting at dinner the other night. I think I told you this story. We're sitting at dinner with Noah, who's going into 5th grade, and his buddy Ethan is going into 5th grade, and then Oliver, and we're all having this discussion about transgender and different stuff like that, and they're both like, Daddy, like, we don't really, whatever somebody wants to be is whatever they want to be. You know what I mean? I'm not going to think anything less of them for that, and that's really all I can hope for my
That's
kids.
It.
That's it. Let people live how they want to live, and like love them for being humans, and your interaction that you personally have with them. Anything else doesn't matter, and who cares? And if somebody worries about what you do, or that's their problem. That's not your problem. Stay in your lane, keep moving.
I think what really kind of brought some attention to my eyes when we were up visiting my brother. My brother has a child in middle school, I believe. Yeah, middle school. Yeah, like the fifth, 6th grade area right there, right? And he was talking about if he isn't transgender or gay by the time he comes to high school, that he's going to be completely ostracized because those are the cool kids now. And if you're not part of that club. Now, regardless of however you take that is what the child said, right? If I'm not transgender or gay by the time I get to high school, I'm ostracized. I get made fun of because I like girls. Were his exact words. So, I mean, I don't know what's happening in school. It just amazed me. We didn't teach sex ed till like high school. I didn't know anything about.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
The only thing I remember, I think it was a sophomore in high school, and the line still sticks with me. It's one of those things like when a teacher says one line, it always sticks with you. He goes, guys, I want you to think about this just like basketball. When you play basketball, right, every guy dribbles before he shoots. So when you're thinking about not wearing a condom or anything of that nature, just think about that. Every guy dribbles before he shoots. And that thing has stuck with me since
Ladies and gentlemen, if you had pre-com on your uninformed fan bingo card, go ahead and mark that off.
But yeah,
to
your point,
really appreciate it.
The things that kids are talking about these days and the sexuality that the kids are exposed to at such a young age to me, and I don't care if it's transgender, if it's anything, just the utter sexuality that is out there via social media versus everything. It's just sexuality, man. It's mind-boggling. Like I said, we didn't think about anything about that, right? I mean, we were still in like 4th, 5th grade, the show me yours, show you mine type shit. Now they're talking about sex at that age.
Yeah. And I'll say this, and I do understand it from the side of, talking about, being gay or transgender in school. A lot of these kids, don't come from maybe the best homes, and they don't have loving parents who are, in a loving household who are there to accept them and tell them that everything is okay. And they need to go to school. They need to be with their peers. They need to be with administrators. And these people need to be able to talk to them. You know what I mean? And I am 100% with that. I just don't think that happens in elementary school.
No.
Would be my last and final takeaway would be that is that I do empathize with that, and talking with, some of my good friends that I have in life, whether it be Sam or Ray or, their journeys that they took, through their life and in terms of coming out and being accepting of who they are as human beings. I know it's different for everybody. I do. And I've never in my life tried to see people for whatever they choose to do behind doors, and I hope that I can raise my children to be the same way.
Absolutely. I treat people just how they treat the energy they put out is the energy they get back from me. And love is love, right? I don't look at any human and be like, well, I do look say, man, that person dresses a little funny. But I mean, that's just the way it is, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what you wear. If it's something that's outside of the norm, people are gonna be like, oh, whether that's a good outfit or not, they're just gonna be like, oh, that's different. Okay. But that doesn't mean I don't like the person. That doesn't mean I don't want to hear or respect their values. Love is love. And I think that at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about, right? But in regards to this and this tweet and stuff like that, it's like, at what point do we start love is love? When we're talking about kids being born and not being assigned a gender, and letting them figure it out at some point and coming back to that. I mean, again, kids are so young. They're impressionable. They have no idea. I'm almost 40-something years old. Something, Jeffrey. I'm not going to give the exact date. I don't know who I am half the day, right? Or what I'm doing. It's just, let's just, let the kids be kids. Enjoy. If they want to do this, then that's great. We'll support them. If they want to do that, that's be great. Let's support it. We're going to support everyone out there. We're going to continue to show love to all peoples involved, regardless of where you come from, what your ideology is. But let's just have some discussions, right? Let's just have some discussions. Let's have some good, open discussions. And if we can't come to an agreement point, that's fine. I still respect you. I still respect what you do. I don't have to agree with everything that you say, but I still respect you at the end of the day. And that's what we need to get to as far as humans and human beings in order to move forward in the planet. Let's just respect each other. If we have different ideologies, that's great. We can hear each other out without hating each other. There has to be some common ground as far as respect for each other as a human being. And I hope that someday we get to that level. And that's how I'm going to wrap that one up on that one.
You know what we need? We need like an alien invasion.
They're already here, bro. They are already here.
We need somebody to like something that like you have to just like unify as a human race instead of like as whatever you.
Well, there's only been one event in my lifetime that has ever felt unifying in this country.
9/11.
That's the only time.
9/11.
Only time. Nothing mattered, dude. Nothing else mattered in this country. It didn't matter if you were gay, if you were a minority, if you were white. It didn't matter if you were a stupid, greedy politician. It didn't matter. We were all Americans. And I think that, that's what we were talking. I was talking about on Twitter the other day about somebody's made a comment about taking down the American flag on like the Capitol, putting up a pride flag, right? And they said that the American flag should be flown at all times. And I agreed with that, just for the sake of saying that American flag, and I know it doesn't for some people, but it should unify every person on this in this country. That's what that's supposed to stand for, is the unity. Now, I know that there's going to be trials and tribulations between certain people and certain things that are continuing to overcome, but that's going to, I mean, that happens across the world and all other areas, and everyone faces adversity in different formats. But when I look at the American flag, I still look at it as one country under God. Now, I know there's people out there who say there is no God, right? There's whatever. I look at it as one country under God. You are all my fellow Americans. When we start putting hashtags on other Americans, you know, Black American, this American, Jews American, Christian Americans, you're all Americans. If you're born in this country, you're an American. Let's just unify. Like I said, that's the only time I've ever seen anything just kind of, nothing else mattered. It was all just America. American flags everywhere. Remember? Everywhere. Every house had an American flag on the outside. Every business had an American flag on the outside. Every dog was yapping USA.
The dog just fell down the stairs. On that note. Honestly, I don't know what just happened right there. That was not a normal yip. That was, things are not okay. I'm falling yip.
Well, on that note, we are going to end it up here at the Uninformed
Let's go
Fam.
eat.
Yeah,
Let's go
right.
eat, please.
Thanks.
Postpone me having to pay Ian money, please.
No. Ian, you're about to get paid. Justice, you're about to go to Cancun or wherever else your Miami Heat are going. Where do people from Miami go for vacation? I mean, where do you
Miami.
go?
No,
Exactly.
you know we talk about this all the time. It's actually really funny. You know where people from Orlando go to vacation? Miami. You know where people from Miami go to vacation? Orlando. The reason is because Florida is such an amazing state that you can completely remove yourself from your environment with a 3-hour drive in any direction, pretty much.
Even less if you go to Tampa.
I love Tampa.
Love Tampa. Was down there this weekend. Went down to Calidesi State Park to jet ski out, Honeymoon Island. Beautiful.
Jet skis out.
Beautiful out there, dude. Beautiful.
Sun's out, guns out.
Crystal
Chilling.
clear waters. Looking forward to getting back. On that note, everybody, have a great night.
Great.
Keep playing. Love one each other. Love the world.